Um, Good morning to you all. Good morning, members of the press. I think we'll go straight to the nitty-gritties of this presser. Of course, you know my name's Celestine Mambula Mukandila. I'm the National Youth Chairman for Tonse Alliance. Today, we are going to look at two specific issues. I think we'll start with the issue to do with the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the publications they have made so far. And the second issue is the political violence that occurred in Lumezi. So colleagues, countrymen and women, you may be aware that yesterday, the Tonse Alliance and the New Congress Party successfully filed in their nomination in Lumezi and Tua Ward, respectively. And after the successful filing in of those nominations, it came to our attention that the Electoral Commission of Zambia deliberately, or should I say negligently, decided to post on their Facebook page successful, or is it the notice of contested election for the National Assembly by-election in Lumezi. That was posted, that was 18 hours ago. I'm sure when you refer to your Facebook, the Facebook page for the Electoral Commission of Zambia, you'll be able to see this. They posted that notice indicating New Congress Party with a party symbol that is not that of the New Congress Party. Now we are concerned as the youth of this alliance because in February of this year, the New Congress Party wrote to the Electoral Commission of Zambia indicating that we are changing the party symbol, and we provided proposed symbols, of which the Electoral Commission of Zambia, in a letter dated 3rd of May, accepted to put or to get one of the party symbols, that is that of a chair, to signify a symbolic chair of authority. So to our surprise, we've just noticed, in fact we noticed yesterday, that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, instead of putting a party symbol, which is the chair on the communique to the Zambian people and the people of Lumezi and Liwa, they decided to put the symbol that previously existed. Now we are concerned because this show of incompetence by the Electoral Commission of Zambia, or a show of negligence, to us feels like it is intended to demean the integrity of the NCP. It is intended to confuse the electorate in Lumezi, and that should never be the case. In a democratic process such as ours, we must know that as political parties, we run our own shows in our own political parties. It is only after approaching the Electoral Commission of Zambia and cautioning them that the party symbol for the NCP is a chair, as was written to them and communicated to them, that they decided to change their details in Lumezi and in Tua Ward. However, it still remains a matter of concern that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has maintained the post they put yesterday on their page, where a wrong party symbol was placed. We do not understand why the Electoral Commission of Zambia did not act as swift as they were supposed to act, because for them to decide to post this it's a show of incompetence on the part of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. It's also a show of negligence. Maybe our colleagues would have acted swiftly, or perhaps they would have acted on point to put the correct symbol if we had put the Kalambo Falls as the party symbol, or perhaps if we had put Ng'ombe Ilede. So it's extremely unfortunate that we have seen our colleagues deciding not to put the party symbol, which is the chair. The very chair that has been giving President Hakainde sleepless nights. And that song, by the way, shall be rebranded equally. Pachipuna Pampando. So that is our party symbol for the new Congress Party, the special purpose vehicle for the Tonse Alliance. And whoever doesn't like it, they should continue dreaming about it. Otherwise, as it stands, the party symbol is the chair. We are giving the authority back to the Zambian people. The Zambian people will go back and sit on that chair of authority. Power has to be given back to the Zambian people. And we are very much resolved. The Zambian people are happy that Pachipuna Pampando. And the Zambian people are going back to that chair of authority. We understand that the Republican president has intimated on several forums that Bwana, we've made our own chair. The chair that will let the Zambian people sit on. Your chair you can keep. I don't think the Zambian people are even interested in a dented chair. One that has shown forcefulness, even in the way of enacting the constitution, which is supposed to be the Zambian people's constitution. Colleagues, the other item that we had as part of our presser today is the issue of political violence in Lumezi. I want to remind our colleagues in the UPND that the Zambian people unanimously decided to vote out the Patriotic Front in 2021 on the premise or on the allegation of the same political violence that they've been at the helm of. Our colleagues don't seem to learn from experience. Our colleagues in UPND seem to behave as though they are suffering from schizophrenia. We need to get back to the reality of it. The Zambian people have not forgotten that the only political party that has ever had a formula for violence, which they called the Patizia formula, is the UPND. We understand that they are a violent party, and we understand that they cannot do without violence. But the Zambian people are resolved. The Zambian people are resolved that they are voting out this oppressive regime despite the violence that they will bring to the fore. I think the youths are resolved that they shall protect and defend the votes in Lumezi. And going forward, we shall protect and defend the votes in every election that we shall be having. Democracy must be protected. Democracy must be defended. We should not let our colleagues in UPND dictate who the Zambian people should vote for. Because democracy entails that I've got the right to vote for a candidate of my choice. And that is why we've now continued reminding our people in Zambia, and the youth to be specific, that our colleagues, because of the corruption in this regime, they've made so much money that they've now started distributing that money. So what we are telling the Zambian people is, when that money is brought, it is your money. They've stolen medicines, and that is where that money is coming from. They've stolen that medicine, putting the lives of Zambians at risk. So when that money is brought to you, and remember that a vote is secret. a vote is secret. When you are casting your vote, bantu batu kulumezi, pane muzamba kuvota paja. Ni secret. So, ngabaleta vija vintu. We understand that right now as we are talking. Bamba no pereka milisi kocha. Bambo pereka mabalo ya vovala. But bantu batu wafunika waziba ati vote yanu ni secret. Abantu ngati baleta hivyo vintu ni kutenga. Ndalama ngati baleta ni kutenga. Hapa we are operating na Don't kubeba reloaded Promax. Ngabaleta kusenda. Nindalama sheswisho. And they've reached the extent of causing so much violence. Yesterday, that violence was unwarranted. The provocation was too much. But we must warn our colleagues that the Patriotic Front and its alliance members in the Tonse Alliance will not sit and watch such kind of provocation. Will not sit, because there comes a point when you are provoked to the fullest extent that you also become reactionary. People need to know. The UPND have to know that we are capable of defending ourselves. But we must not be violent in these elections. An election is a competition of ideas. We understand that they have run out of messages, the UPND. They have run out of messages. That is why you find that even their leader would be in church. No message whatsoever to give to the Zambian people. How are you going to justify that you have failed to reduce the cost of milk? How are you going to justify that today as we are talking, people are moving from Lumezi into Malawi to buy fuel at 15 kwacha? How are you going to justify that today in Lumezi, people are buying milk at 400 kwacha, 380 kwacha? And yet you promise the Zambian people that you will reduce the cost of milk to 50 kwacha. You promise the Zambian people that you will reduce the cost of fertilizer to 250 kwacha. You promise the Zambian people that you will reduce the cost of fuel to 9 kwacha. Because according to you, you indicated that there were middlemen that were stealing. The people in Lumezi know that Bamuniri Kurije, because you have decided to incarcerate them, you have decided to use lawfare to take control of parliamentary seats. The use of lawfare to unlawfully or unjustly incarcerate members of parliament must stop. We demand that it must stop. Because the courts have already ruled. There is a matter where the courts have ruled that sedition, for example, is unconstitutional. That law is unconstitutional because it borders on the freedom of expression as guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. The courts have ruled that those are unconstitutional laws. Why have we continued using such laws? Why are we using lawfare to silence Zambians? But I think going forward, the people in Lumezi will use songs to speak to these issues. We understand that you put bounties on Tonse Alliance members that were composing very beautiful songs in Lumezi. Your police officers are even looking for them. They want to arrest them. For what? For performing a constitutional duty? Zambia remains a democracy. We are a constitutional democracy. Our constitutionally guaranteed rights must be protected by every person who means well for this country. by every person who means well for this country. These rights are constitutionally guaranteed. The freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of association. You cannot stop people from belonging to any political party. Just because those colleagues in Lumezi belonged to the Tonse Alliance, you decided to attack them. What are you scared of? The Zambian people are resolved. The youths are resolved. And we have continued to indicate that the same way you use the social media to your advantage, this time around we shall use it pro max. We will speak using social media and we will not offend any law. It is not in us. The Tonse Alliance will not offend any law. We shall use all legal means to protect and defend our votes in Lumezi. We shall use all legal means. Or maybe we can indicate that even spiritual means, because we need to go back to God and pray. We need to go back to God and pray for these colleagues. So the politics of fights, the politics of pangas that we saw, and now you see, it's very systematic. The UPND brought in violence in Kawambwa. We saw the violence. I was in it when we were attacked by these colleagues. The perpetrators of that violence up to now are on the streets, moving freely. Is this an independent police? It is not. Definitely not. In Petauke, they introduced violence equally, these same UPND colleagues. So they've got a track record of violence. The perpetrators of that violence are out there. Why is the police not arresting these people? Why is the police not bringing these people to book? In Kawambwa, in Pambashe, they introduced violence. The perpetrators are known people, known UPND thugs. The police know them. But the reason why this is happening is because our colleagues have decided to systematically hold on to the police service and the police system. A police officer will not operate professionally today because of fear of being transferred, fired, or perhaps suspended. We need an independent police service, one that is free from political interference, like we are seeing today. We need an independent electoral commission of Zambia, one that is going to be free from political interference. So we are challenging this leadership. Enough of telling us things that you cannot do. Today you tell the Zambian people that whoever commits an offense is on his own. Tomorrow, something happens, before you know it, the same police that you are telling that do not arrest before you investigate, they go and arrest without investigating. For me, I'll tell you, if we have to interpret the law intrinsically, if we have to interpret the law, the actions by these police officers is actually treasonous. Because you cannot go against the instruction of the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense and Armed Forces. The Commander-in-Chief tells you that you need to investigate before you arrest. You go out there, you arrest, and then you start investigating. What does that mean? Anyway, colleagues, members of the press, this is what we had for you. But I want to remind the youths that the Lumezi elections are our elections. We are more than confident that we are winning these elections. More than ever, the confidence is extremely high. And the Zambian people and the youth must know that we shall defend and protect the vote. we shall use all legal means to defend and protect the votes. Those that are violent must know that we will expose their violence. Because apart from us deploying vigilant youths, we've also deployed And people must know that if they think there's no network there, we've deployed, what are you calling those? The ones the ones for Elon Musk. We've deployed Starlink in those areas. So we'll be beaming live oil violence. You need to know. Oil violence shall be beamed live. The Zambian people, you will see that you are a violent party and you don't mean well for the Zambian people. You don't mean well. But the Zambian people will see, unless you are going to manage to cut us out of Starlink, then you will succeed in deploying violence. But this time around, we will not let you. So, members of the press, colleagues, thank you very much for coming. And I must hasten to remind you that even the Fourth Estate has got a responsibility to protect and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. And we must protect our democracy. The issue of this regime gagging you from reporting must come to an end. We must enforce our constitutional rights. This comes to you, the Fourth Estate. We know there's a cybersecurity bill. You will no longer be doing your investigative journalism, because when you record these corrupt individuals, they want to arrest you. But they are corrupt. We can't stop that. We know they are corrupt. So thank you very much, colleagues. And thank you very much to the Zambian people.